You're listening to Bush Radio. Bush Radio.
Your real talk radio.
Daganan kilo bejanin kom lo moham. Di beta maso sanalom. Muasa benge kaputo.
State Affairs.
State Affairs with Edmund Obilo. State Affairs with Edmund Obilo is live.
There was something about Ajimobi and his wife. Ajimobi was buried recently, and when the deputy governor visited, the wife lashed out. You could see that emotional outburst. But let's listen to Ajimobi about his wife. I learned you are a core family man.
Yes, I am, yeah.
You stay at home with your family.
Yes, I'm a very homely person. I believe that a man who wants to rule must first and foremost be able to manage his family very well, very effectively. And I take my own strength from my family because I get my support from them. And when I say family, there is my core family, there is my political family, there is my religious family, there is my spiritual family. So you can, when you use the word family, my own is extended to that, to the point of drawing strength from them.
And your wife is always seen around you. You must be very close to her.
I'm very close to my wife. I'm very close to my children. I'm very close to even my political associates.
Will you leak official secrets to your wife?
The wife, your wife is your, if you like, is your partner in the house, not in governance, not in the office. I've been managing directors of multinational companies, both in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. You don't leak secrets to your wife.
How do you prove your love?
How do you prove your love?
If you don't tell her everything.
No, you don't tell you never tell your wife or even your son or your children everything.
I hope she's listening.
Well, my wife knows me very well. We've been married for 31 years. And even in the office, some things, do you know the interesting thing? When I knew I was going to be MD, I knew about it 3 weeks to the time. And I didn't tell my wife until it was 3 days to the time. Because there are good surprises. So it's not everything you tell your wife or even your children. Or you must have some secrets to yourself.
So we are looking at a situation where the First Lady will not be a dominant force if you won the election.
I don't think the people are voting for me, not for my wife. So I think my wife is just to give me support and take care of the home front. She's supposed to take care of the house. So when I come back, oh, how are you today? Hope all is well, and that's all. My wife is a very, very submissive person. Very, very submissive, very loving.
So when you see Dame Jonathan always on the stage, what do you tell yourself?
Well, first and foremost, my wife will not speak English like Jonathan's wife is speaking. Secondly, I think I would not allow my wife to go too far, but she can campaign for women, with women. Women will relate to her better. I think that's very important.
Even when I was in Taiwan, playing the same old, dirty, mundane, pedestrian politics, they now said, I didn't go to Taiwan. My wife was with me in Taiwan. and they said my wife carried money to London. Don't let us have a society of illiterates. How can any human being even carry 500 million naira and take it to London, or 400,000 pounds? In fact, 400,000 pounds is not 500 million naira. It's over 1 billion naira. How do you now carry that in your box and take it to London? Even if you pass through the immigration and customs in Lagos, how will you pass through them in London? Affair, you know, òyìnbó náà. So even if you say pé o ti fi affair sí lórí, ajá wọn yóò mú yàn. And this is the kind of politics that we want to avoid.
Dr. Nathaniel Danjibo, you heard Ajimobi there talking about his wife. And when Ajimobi was buried, the deputy governor visited. She could not hide her pain and disappointment.
The press are here. We never had any risk with the governor, with the state government. I never dialogued with them. I never confronted them. I never sent them a word. Because I didn't know it was necessary for me to send official messages that my husband was hospitalized. I didn't send messages to Governor Femi. I didn't send to Governor Ganduje. I didn't send to Lagos State Governor. I never sent messages to anybody. It was all over the social media. They knew my husband was killed. I think the least anybody can do as a God-fearing person is at least to send me a word of encouragement at that time. And even after he died, not even you, Mr. Deputy Governor, you called who? You called my dead husband. You should have sent me a text message, sir. You can send a I don't have your number, I can't pick up. I'm the wife of a politician, I don't pick numbers I don't know. You can send me a message, sir. Your Excellency. You can send a message, sir. You can send a message. You can send a message. Everybody is going to die. My husband is dead. My husband is dead, and he served this state for 8 years. 8 good years. What are we talking about?
What do you think?
Well, I think she was right, and it was good that she came out in the open to express her disappointment. In the first instance, I personally thought that his burial would have been a state burial. That's what I thought. And so when I started reading all kinds of things, I personally didn't see, the adjective, maybe maturity in handling the whole issue. At the point that she lashed at the deputy governor, she was expressing the frustration that the state didn't reach out to them when they were expecting the state to be part of what they went through. And I recall that the deputy governor said he tried to call her and he sent her a text message or something like that. But I had expected that even if the governor were to be, let's say, very busy or maybe not in the state, he would have sent a delegation. He would have sent a delegation if he wouldn't personally go to the family or to the man when he was on his sick bed in Lagos. And after the death, I also expected that the state would have presented itself. Like I said, I think the state didn't handle it well, personally. I'm just talking personally.
Okay.
It was supposed to be a state affair, a state burial. Yeah, even if he was a governor for one day, it was supposed to be a state function. And I didn't see that, I didn't see maturity from the state handling the issues. So the woman was pained, and I'm happy that she expressed her pain.
You want to comment, Senator?
Yes, I want to comment. I think I agree with the doctor. I think the handling of the issue by the state can best be described as a disaster. I was one of the few people that went to receive the governors forum at the airport. And when they landed, the first question they asked was, where's the governor? Where's the governor? And they were shocked. You could see that they were shocked that the governor was not there.
Was he supposed to be there?
Come on, Edmund. This former governor died. And then you read things like they were not notified. You don't notify. I mean, everybody knew the man was sick. When Governor Seyi Makinde said he had contracted COVID, I put aside political differences and I put a call through to him to wish him well. Governor Ajimobi did the same. And so the woman, the wife was only expressing her frustration because this should be, like the doctor said, a state affair. And it wasn't. Not even an advertorial to tell the world that we had lost a great man. Nothing. I think we just took politics to another low. Honestly.
Prof. Adejumo?
There is nothing to add to what Senator Folarin and Dr. Danjibo have said. I align myself completely with them. The state government did not manage that process. In fact, the state government mismanaged the process completely. And I'm personally disappointed that they brought politics into the burial of somebody who died as an ex-governor and an immediate, past governor. It should have been much, much better managed. I align myself with Senator Folarin and Dr. Danjibo. Thank you.
Was it politics that she played?
Yeah, it was politics.
What kind of politics is that?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe politics by their own, interpretation. But it is a disaster, in terms of precedence. You see, even if he was a governor from the most remote, party, he had that position as a former governor.
You said Governors Forum visited Oyo State.
Yes, they did.
How many governors came?
I think five. And the deputy governor was at the airport to receive them with me.
The deputy governor of Oyo State?
He was there. It was there.
So the state was represented?
The state was represented, but it was such an high-profile event that you would expect the governor to set aside everything he was doing to attend. He should have been the chief mourner. You see people go, they troop all every day to the Ajimobi residence. You see, when you become governor, you become the father of everyone. You become the father of even Teslim Folarin. So Seyi Makinde is our father. And for him to be missing in action is a big disappointment.
Has anybody reached out to him?
I think we'll have to ask from the PDP, from Diron Odeyemi, what his views are on this.
All right, Diron, the ball is in your court.
What many people don't understand is the fact that there has been a line of underlying factor. Even before late Ajimobi had COVID-19. And what is this underlying factor? Is the fact that there has been a dispute over a 48 plot of lands that belongs to the government, which Ajimobi allocated to himself. He built a multi-billion naira building on part of it. And this has been subjected to a court case. And because of that, the Ajimobi family has been hostile to the government and to the person of Seyi Makinde. And because of that, when the governor learned about his sickness through the media, not through anybody. And what he did was to put a call to the wife of to Mrs. Ajimobi. And you heard Mrs. Ajimobi who said she doesn't pick unknown calls and she doesn't have the telephone numbers of people. I want to disagree on that, because even if you don't have the telephone number of anybody, the technology nowadays, there is Truecaller to identify whoever is calling.
That is if you download the app.
Well, we expect a high profile like a first lady to have that kind of people.
She decided not to have it.
Okay, that's all right. She decided not to have it. Let's leave it at that. What the government now did was to liaise with Lagos State government through the Commissioner for Health, who was more or less who they were relating with. And after doing everything humanly possible to be involved, and all his efforts were rebuffed, he had no choice than to call for the assistance of Lagos State government. If there is anything you want me to do, please call on me. I prefer to relay with you. That was the situation. And when eventually he passed on, the hostility was there. And you can see in the delegation of the deputy governor, you can see the way Mrs. Ajimobi addressed him. This man is a father to somebody. He's an husband to a woman. She is expected to respect not the constitutional authority this time around, but the authority behind the deputy governor. Did he do that? And another thing is, we heard that the information of late Ajimobi's death was passed through the vice president simply because they wanted him buried on the disputed land at the GRA. Should that be the protocol, for God's sake? And we should give kudos to Sheyi for standing by the government and defending the people of Oyo State that no, I will not have him buried on this land. This land belongs to everybody in Oyo State. And you cannot use sentiment. You cannot use sentiment to now, you cannot use sentiment against the law. The law is you cannot bury anybody in GRA. That is the law.
But the family hasn't come out to say that is the issue. The family is saying
she did
not reach out to them.
I've just said it's the underlying factor. You don't know this underlying factor. I'm only exposing it now.
Okay.
I need to interject. Let me first of all express my strong disappointment at what Deron is saying. I thought it would be big enough to apologize on behalf of the government because, of the PDP government.
Are you not aware of the underlying factor?
Can I just finish, please? But it's not. But rather is coming out to begin to peddle falsehood. There are issues is raised there that I'm very disappointed here.
Okay.
He talked about 48 plots. Plot 48. That has been made clear, Not 48 plots. Plot 48. Don't let us behave like illiterates. And again, Ajimobi was not a pauper.
Is that not too hard?
What?
The way you just responded.
No. I
think you should calm down a bit.
Okay, I'll calm down. But let me say this. Ajimobi was not a pauper. He was never a pauper. Even before he came into government, his own properties that I know all over the world. So, because what is suggesting...
You shouldn't need a government GRA then.
Look,
okay.
Hang on. This land he's talking about is still in court.
Of course.
Ajimobi went to court.
He went to court. And except Deron is telling us that he knows what the outcome would be. So, for all I care, for all I know, Ajimobi may still win. Because he's saying,
But did the family plead with Sheyi to allow the burial of Ajimobi in that particular plot?
What is wrong with that?
Oh.
What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that?
It's against
the law. Look, there are laws.
You don't use sentiments.
No.
Okay, let Femi Aborisade come in now. What do you think about the subject?
Well, I think that fundamentally we should recognize that first, that the wife of the late former governor of Oyo State, was under pressure because of the loss of her husband. So certain conduct or utterances, from that point of view, should be accommodated. And the state should not overreact. They should show understanding. However, whether the dead body was buried in Ajimobi's residence or GRA, it is against the law by virtue of Section 246 of the Criminal Code, which is similar to the criminal law of Oyo State. Burying a corpse in any dwelling place is prohibited, is not allowed. And by virtue of that, paragraph 1C of the 4th schedule to the Constitution vests the power to establish cemeteries, burial grounds in the local government councils. And doing otherwise, even, what has happened is also unfortunate. We cannot say because a prominent person, a former governor has died, we will therefore break the law.
The law has been broken already.
The law has been broken. And that culture ought not to be allowed. Government should assume its responsibility, build, cemeteries where, whether you are poor or rich, that should be your last resting place. That is my position.
I think I will come in now. I think I don't want to use the word mischievous because because is playing a little.
Are you not too hard on my guest?
No. I
will want to protect my guest.
Oh, okay. Deron has been playing with words. You are bringing two totally unrelated issues. You see, in the death of Ajimobi, you are alluding to some underlying. You see, that shouldn't even come in at all. What you are talking about is what was the conduct of the state government about his funeral, about condolence, about the sympathy that the family deserved. And we say that the government fell below expectation. I'm disappointed. The issue of whether there are 48 plots, whether there are 100 plots, that is a matter for the law courts to decide. And I will, if Governor Ajimobi was alive, and a situation like that came up in his government, he will apply the principles of the law to the limit. I know him for that. And he will stand by it, and he will make public utterance on it according to the dictates of the law. So I will not in any way fault any government, or your state government, or if you have properties in America, or he has in Calabar, from applying appropriate laws that guide such acquisition. So you don't even need to go into that. But what we are talking about, because people have land disputes that they take to court to settle, but it does not take away from the fact that as a former governor, is the number one person on the state protocol list today as an immediate past governor. The government has principles in file that they could activate when a former governor dies. If they did not do that, they should own up to the fact that they deliberately sidelined that. I don't mind if they feel, well, you want to play politics with it, is good and well.
Some would say Ajimobi perhaps did not also handle the death of Kolakbo Ishola in the way it should have been handled. You were at Kolakbo Ishola's burial.
I was there.
Ajimobi was not there.
Yes,
yeah, you were in the PDP then.
Yes.
So how do you explain that?
No, it's not a question of PDP. At the time, I think he set up a committee. There was a committee that was set up.
He was not there. We were
hang on. See, a committee was set up that was led by the special advisor on political matters at the time. He also gave money.
He gave them 30 million.
I don't know how much he gave, but he gave them money.
But the money was rejected, right?
But he gave them.
And he was not there.
I don't have all the facts now.
He wasn't there.
Yeah, he wasn't there.
He wasn't there. So are we saying what is good for the goose is good for the gander?
But you can ask the family that he went to condole them.
Perhaps
it was not the public burial, but he went to condole them privately. We're saying this is a government that does not deem it fit to even speak on the matter.
Is tomorrow too late for Sheyi to visit?
Edmund, we should not go by the principles in governance that what is good for the geese is good for the gander. Two wrongs never make it right. If when Kolakbo Ishola died, I was there. I didn't see the governor of the state, Ajimobi. If what he did was wrong, that does not automatically mean that when it was his turn, then he should be doing another wrong. And if it's the turn of another governor, then another wrong should be perpetrated. No, we must not continue to do wrongs in perpetuity. We must at the time be bold, be courageous, be statesman-like, in character, to say, look, this is the procedure for honoring a dead governor or a dead statesman.
Is it too late, Dr. Danjibo, for Sheyi to honor Ajimobi?
The deed has been done, but it's not that it cannot be remedied. I mean, there can be points of reconciliation and explanations and understanding. But I think why this is maybe difficult for the current governor to do thereafter, is that from what the PDP man said here, it's like the issue was from ab initio politicized. It was politicized, and so if you had underlying issues that are generic in a sense, I think it may be late because I don't know how the family of the late Ajimobi would accept condolences now. I mean, for me, I would say, well, it's because every other person is saying, or every other person is saying because they didn't come, they now want to come. And well, fine, it's a human society, reconciliations can come, and I think it's not too late. He may raise an official delegation, which he himself would have to lead and go and explain himself.
Senator Folarin.
I think the lesson for the future is that we need to develop very clear protocols on how to deal with issues like this. My view, I've made very strongly, is that it should not, the governor should rise above all this. All these underlying factors, they're not talking as absolute nonsense.
Hostility.
As far as I'm concerned.
Jerome, please, you have to respond.
Yes. To give sympathy to an hostile person is very difficult. Somebody who was not ready to be, who did not want the governor to be involved, even when he was on the sick bed. How do you now want to reconcile that with his death? You have a difficult woman who is
no.
Okay.
I'm coming. Let me withdraw that. You are dealing with an hostile woman. Somebody.
I think you should withdraw that.
Hostile. I withdraw that. I said
you're dealing with a woman whose husband is sick and died. Exactly. It's not easy.
Woman who was aggrieved.
You should rise above that.
All right.
You know what I'm trying to put. What I'm trying to put across to you. If there is anybody playing politics with the death of Ajimobi, you cannot even exonerate the family.
Okay.
You cannot exonerate because we have said this several times.
Let's leave it at this. Let's leave it at this.
That's the final word. It's not as if, look, what has happened. But even in our own families, we have people, from our direct families, let's not shy away from this. We have people that we think are not friendly. But when issues of death come, people bury whatever grievances and then come and do what is
Nobody talks about underlying issues.
All right. Dr. Danjibo, if Ajimobi had fixed Adejumo Hospital, if Ajimobi had worked on the health centers, would Ajimobi have gone to Lagos?
Well, I think it's a lesson that, like the comrade was saying, it's not just Ajimobi, it's a national thing. If the country had invested in health, would we have had, whether prominent or low people, going helter-skelter looking for treatment? We wouldn't have had that.
Okay, we just have to go. Senator Teslim Folarin, thank you for featuring on State Affairs.
Thanks for having me once again. Thank you.
Professor Soji, Adejumo, good to see you
again. It's always a pleasure pairing with Edmund. The Nigerian people.
Dr. Nathaniel Danjibo.
Thank you very much after a long while, really.
After the attacks from Senator Folarin, and I apologize on your behalf.
Thank you very much. I appreciate coming here today. I've made my contribution. I've made my points.
Thank you. Diro Adeyemi is the Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the PDP. Comrade Femi Aborisade, thank you for calling.
Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for your continued public interest journalism.
Thank you.
Very, very unique.
Thank you. Next week is another time. Thank you for listening.
Your Real Talk Radio.